I've handled a lot of lever guns over the years, but Henry's lineup always manages to stand out. Whether you're hunting, plinking, or just appreciate a rifle that actually feels like it was built by people who shoot, you can just agree that Henry rifles get the job done. And that brings us to this video. What's up, everyone? This is Ted from Line 45, and today, I'm breaking down the best Henry lever actions you should actually consider owning if you care about quality, shootability, and timeless design. Before I start, I would really appreciate it if you would push those buttons below, the subscribe button, the notification bell, all of them. This is not necessary, but those little clicks help a brother out. Plus, it pushes me to give you more valuable car-related content on your screen. Now, buckle up, and let's get back to the video. Henry Big Boy All-Weather. If I had to grab a lever gun for rough weather, unpredictable terrain, or just day-after-day hard use, the Henry Big Boy All-Weather would be near the top of my list. It's built with utility in mind, and after putting time behind 1.357 Magnum, I can say it's not just dressed for work, it's made for it. The satin hard chrome finish on the barrel and receiver doesn't scratch easy and handles wet conditions better than most stainless guns I've carried. It also cleans up quickly, which matters when you've been in the dirt or soaked through on a long hunt. The American walnut stock is sealed up tight with an industrial coating, which gives it a no-gloss, low-maintenance surface. You still get the warmth and shape of real wood, but you don't have to baby it. The 20-inch barrel keeps the rifle balanced and accurate, and the side-loading gate is a welcome feature. Topping off the tube with live rounds is quick and clean, even with gloves. My model came with the standard semi-buckhorn rear and brass bead front, which work well enough for iron sights, though it's also drilled and tapped for optics. Recoil with magnums is manageable, and with .38 special, it's just fun to shoot. This is a lever action you can haul through the woods or keep in the truck without worrying about it falling apart or rusting out. For those leaning into bigger bore territory, I'd move you right into the Henry X Model .45-70, which I'll cover next. Henry X Model .45-70. The Henry X Model .45-70 is one of the few lever actions that actually feels purpose-built for modern shooters. I've spent time behind plenty of traditional 45-70s, but this one stood out because it didn't ask me to baby it. The synthetic stock is lightweight and weatherproof, and the addition of M-lock slots and a Picatinny rail means I can run a light, sling, or red dot without needing a gunsmith or duct tape. That kind of modularity in a lever gun isn't common, and it makes a big difference when you're using it for hogs or deer in tight brush. The 19.8-inch blued barrel is threaded 5/8 by 24, so I threw on a suppressor without changing anything else. The fiber optic sights are easy to pick up in low light, and the side-loading gate lets me top off without pulling the tube. It's a small thing, but that plus the removable magazine tube makes unloading clean and quick. Recoil is stout, as expected with full power .45-70 loads, but the solid rubber recoil pad keeps it manageable. Accuracy stayed tight out to 100 yards, especially with heavier 325-grain hunting ammo. Weight comes in around 7.4 pounds, and balance is good enough for offhand shots without feeling nose-heavy. This rifle hits hard, carries easily, and checks boxes most lever guns ignore. If you need a .45-70 that works as hard as you do, this one deserves a serious look. Of course, Henry has a complete catalog, and I am pretty sure that some of you prefer the tame one. Well, the next lever-action rifle should make sense. Henry Golden Boy .22 LR. If you've ever spent a lazy afternoon plinking at cans or knocking squirrels off fence posts, chances are you know the charm of a good lever-action shooting rimfire rounds. For me, the Henry Golden Boy isn't just good, it's one of those rifles that hits all the right notes. It's the kind of rimfire you keep passing down, not because it's fancy or rare, but because it's just that solid. Between the 20-inch octagonal barrel, the rich American walnut stock, and that brass light receiver that practically glows in the sunlight, it just feels right in your hands. But this isn't a safe queen. I've put thousands of rounds through mine, everything from bulk .22 LR to .22 shorts, when I wanted to stretch the mag capacity, and it just keeps feeding clean. That smooth Henry action isn't just some random claim you hear on the range. The lever glides, the hammer drops clean, and the groups stay tight at backyard ranges. It balances beautifully for offhand shots, and the adjustable semi-buckhorn rear sight with the diamond insert gets dialed in easily. At about 6.75 pounds, it's got enough weight to settle nicely without wearing you out on long-range sessions. It's drilled and tapped too if you want to throw on a scope, though I've always thought this one's best left with irons. For around $648, it's hard to find a better mix of looks, build quality, and shootability in the lever-action rimfire world. Now, if you want that classic vibe but with a bit more barrel mass and a longer sight radius, the Frontier model might be more up your alley. Henry Frontier Model .22 Magnum. You don't really know how smooth a rimfire lever gun can feel until you've spent time with the Henry Frontier in .22 Magnum. That octagon barrel does more than look like a nod to the Old West. It gives the rifle a weight-forward balance that just steadies everything. Offhand shots? No problem. The American walnut stock fits the shoulder clean, and that matte-finished alloy receiver stays sleek without picking up prints or glare. This one's built for putting rounds on target, not just sitting in a display case. The fiberbrass bead sight up front is easy to pick up in the field, and the buckhorn rear stays traditional but adjustable enough to dial things in quickly. It holds 12 in the tube, but I've consistently stuffed 13 without an issue. The lever throw is short and buttery. You can feel the mechanical integrity with every cycle. It doesn't slap your hand, and it doesn't feel mushy. This is a rimfire that works like a centerfire. What pushes it into best of Henry territory for me is how it rides that line between fun and functional. I've used it for small game, steel work, and just flat-out plinking days that remind me why I started shooting in the first place. For under $500, it punches way above its weight. Let's talk big bore next, because when Henry goes heavy, it does not mess around. Henry Side Gate .45-70. The Henry Side Gate .45-70 is the kind of rifle that makes you pause the moment you rack that lever. You feel it in the action. There's a solidness to this gun that doesn't just scream heritage, it basically carries it. This isn't just another nod to the 1800s. It's a modern, brass-framed beast with purpose. The hardened, polished brass receiver catches light like an old pocket watch, but it's not just for show. Paired with deep-checkered American walnut and blued steel, it walks that line between functional and heirloom. I took mine through the timber last season and trusted it over any polymer-stock semi-auto. The thing about a .45-70 in a lever gun is you know exactly what you're getting. Thump, reliability, and range out to 125 yards without any drama. The semi-buckhorn rear and ivory bead front sights make finding your target feel instinctive, even when you're working with gloved hands or dealing with low light. The side gate and tube combo is what really sold me. You can top off on the fly or dump the tube fast at the end of a hunt. It's smooth, fast, and makes sense in a practical way. And let's not forget, it's drilled and tapped for optics and includes swivel studs if you're the sling type. At just over 7 pounds, it's a solid carry. With an MSRP of $1,248, this rifle feels like it should cost more, which is basically the same case with the next lever-action Henry you are about to see. Henry Long Ranger .308 Winchester. You know what stuck with me the moment I worked the action on the Henry Long Ranger in .308? It wasn't nostalgia. It was precision. This lever gun doesn't behave like one. It feeds smooth like a bolt rifle, locks up tighter than most budget bolt guns, and throws lead with the kind of accuracy that makes you sit up and say, yeah, that's the shot. Henry took a hard turn with the Long Ranger. Gone is the tubular mag. You get a box magazine that actually lets you run pointed, high BC bullets like the 168-grain Match Kings. That alone opens up your reach, especially for folks hunting across canyons or chasing mule deer across Arizona plateaus. The mag holds 4 rounds, feeds reliably, and drops clean with a push-button release. I loaded it even on a cold morning with stiff fingers and didn't curse once. The heart of it is a 20-inch free-floated barrel paired with a 6-lug rotary bolt that locks into the barrel extension. It's not just clever engineering. It's a direct nod to the AR platform, and it works. That bolt locks up tight every time and returns you to zero like clockwork. Side ejection keeps your optics safe and clear. The whole rifle weighs just over 7 pounds, sits tight in the shoulder, and that recoil pad soaks up .308 energy like it was built for aging joints. No safeties to fumble with. Just a transfer bar system and your thumb on the hammer. Again, this isn't about nostalgia. This is about giving lever gun lovers a tool that hits like a bolt gun but works for those of us with worn-out hands and a need for simplicity. The Long Ranger doesn't just keep you in the hunt. It puts you right back in your element. And finally, Henry Classic Rifle .22 LR. You never really forget your first rimfire, but the Henry Classic Lever Action .22? That one sticks with you for all the right reasons. I've put more bricks of .22 rounds through this rifle than I can count, and not once did it feel like a budget gun trying to keep up. This thing is built like it's meant to stay in the family. The Henry Classic comes in around $350 street price, and for what you get, it's a steal. It's got an American walnut stock that's actually real wood, not stained hardwood or plastic like you'd find on half the other rimfires at this price point. The blued steel barrel measures 18.25 inches and is topped off with a hooded front sight and fully adjustable rear, which makes plinking steel or dropping squirrels downright enjoyable. You've got a 14-inch length of pull, and the whole package weighs about 5.25 pounds, so it's light enough for a new shooter but not so light that it feels toy-like. Here's the cool part. The inner magazine tube holds 15 rounds of .22 LR, but it'll also eat .22, short, long, and even CBs without choking. No jams, no fuss. The action is buttery smooth, and the quarter-cock safety system keeps it safe without throwing in a clunky crossbolt or button. In terms of accuracy, let's be real. This isn't a match-grade rifle, but it's accurate enough to ring steel at 100 yards with iron sights and keep a smile plastered on your face all afternoon. The trigger breaks at around 2.5 pounds, clean and crisp, and the reliability across ammo types, CCI, Aguila, Federal, or whatever is in your mind, is just plain stupid good. If you're building a rimfire collection or want something reliable to train the next gen of shooters, this is the one to start with. Now let's shift gears to a rimfire that's built with a little more flash and a whole lot of shine.